My name's Lucia Heath. I'm CEO of Women for Election Australia. I would like to do an acknowledgement of country. I'm coming to you from the land of the Gadigal people of the Eora Nation, and I would like to pay my tributes to their emerging leaders, their current leaders, and their past leaders as well. And I acknowledge that we currently don't have a treaty with our First Nations people, and until we do, we will not be able to move forward in harmony as a united people in Australia. So thank you, Karen Porter, for joining us today. It's so exciting to talk with you. How are you feeling right now?
I'm feeling really good, actually. It's been such a fast and furious time for the by-election, but feeling really good. I've had a really good experience, so enjoy myself, and no one will know what's going to happen until Saturday.
Well, yeah, so let's just do a bit of recap on history. So you're running in the Eden-Monaro by-election currently. You had your sitting member, Mike Kelly, resign unexpectedly. That's forced a by-election.
Yes.
And yours is an interesting story because you haven't run before. You've decided to run in a federal by-election. And you have you have the support of one of the newer parties on the Australian political scene at the moment, the New Liberals. So there's a lot that I want to cover, but let's start at the beginning. A year ago, were you going to run?
6 months ago, I wasn't going to run. There's no way I was ever going to be a politician. It's just crazy how your life can turn in a heartbeat.
Yeah. So what was the journey? Like, what was your thought process? Why did you suddenly want to get involved?
Well, I was talking to one of my friends who was actually the president of Canberra Women in Business, and she said that she was resigning as president because she was going to run in the next election, federal election. And I went, oh, that's a bit crazy, don't you think? Why would you do that to yourself? And she goes, well, I've formed part of this emerging party. They're really good. Have a look at their policies and see if you want to join the party. So I looked at the policies and I went, oh man, these people want to fix everything I want to fix. So many things I'm unhappy with at the moment in the world, and particularly in Australia. And she said, I'll have a talk to Victor Klein, who's our leader, and see what you think. And I said, all right, I'll look at joining. That's all good. I was actually a member of the Greens, so I was already part of a party. And he spoke to him, such a lovely person. Again, he's everything I want to fix. And then he said, well, 2022, you're in Eden-Monaro, aren't you? And I said, yeah, I am. And he said, well, would you consider standing? And I went, ah. So just to put in context, my business turns over around 6 million. I've got 15 staff members. I've got 5 children. And for me, it was just like, how on earth could I even do this? And I went away and thought about it. I thought, well, I can keep complaining about this, or I can actually do something, because I am someone who has integrity, and I wanted to do something to change the world. So I said yes. And at that stage, I was on Twitter for the first time. Mike Kelly and I connected. And Mike said, oh, I hear you're going to run in 2022. And I said, yeah. And he said, oh, it'd be great to have somebody on board like yourself who can talk about the climate like me, because everybody else around me, including the Liberal candidate, is a naysayer. And I said, oh, well, I'd love to join you on the journey. And anyway, I heard word that he wasn't well and that he was going to resign. And I said, Mike, don't resign. I'm not ready yet. And then next thing on the news, he's resigned. I'm just like, damn. So anyway, they said, well, do you want to have a bit of a practice run? This is a really good time for you to learn what election's going to be like, and good for us as a party to learn how to run a campaign. So I said, yeah, let's do it. But I don't do things by halves. So when I do it, I'm going in to win it. I'm not going in to just do a little practice. So I've gone full speed ahead. I've actually found probably about 3 or 4 hours extra to my day, starting from about 3 a.m. So I reckon by Saturday I'm going to crash.
Well, look, it is only Saturday, so this Saturday
We're
is
almost there. Yes.
yeah,
Three
is
more
Election
days.
Day. Yep, Independence Day. I note.
It is. Yes.
American Independence Day. So maybe some good luck to coming to you there. Something you said there really
Yes.
resonated with me. You weren't ready. It's something
I
we talk
wasn't.
about at our workshops all the time, and something that
Yes.
our politicians or retired politicians, councillors come and talk to us, and they say,
Yeah.
you will never feel ready.
Yeah.
Even
Yes.
with all the preparation, you'll never feel
Yes.
ready. But step
Yeah.
forward anyway. And,
Yeah.
so that's exactly what you've done. I think you should be commended for that. So
I did. And I declared very early that I was running. So once you declare, then you can start campaigning.
yeah.
And I think I had probably 3 or 4 weeks before the Liberals and National candidates were announced.
Mm-hmm.
So I was already out there campaigning well before them, which I needed to do because nobody knew me except Canberra people because of my business. So
Yeah.
I'm quite well known in Canberra, but not in Eden-Monaro.
So you got a good head start.
I did. I had a really good head start, and I think that's been a bit of a saviour for me, getting early.
Well, anyone on this call, go to Karen's candidate Facebook page because it gives you a good idea of kind of her journey over the last few weeks. And
Yes.
you've done some great videos, Karen,
Yes.
in terms of
Yes.
being out in the community, but also about your policies. And I think that's particularly critical campaigning in COVID times. So tell us a little bit about the approach you've been forced to take, really, because it's not a door knocking environment we find ourselves in.
No. And look, it's also been really hard because I joined the New Liberals. The New Liberals weren't registered. So they were sort of gearing up for 2022 as well. So I had to run as an independent. So the whole way through my campaign, I've been having to, are you an independent or are you with the New Liberals? Well, I'm an independent, but what's the New Liberals? And it's really been hard to market myself and the new party at the same time. It's very confusing for people. With COVID, I feel like it's put us on a little bit of an even playing field across with the big parties because we've all been doing the same thing.
Yeah.
We've all been on Zooms together. So, we're sitting here like we are today, but with all the parties. So it's been really good in that regard. They've probably been out, the Liberals been out with the Prime Minister, so she's sort of had him saying vote for her. And then you've had Albo out with Christie. And I sort of noticed right through the process that every time I say something that's got a good idea, it comes out in their promotion. Every time. And I've tested it. Like, I'm a business owner. Suddenly Fiona's saying, I'm a small business owner. It's just been amazing watching that. And I said at one stage, hey, you guys are really strong women. Why do you need to have these men following you around? Next minute, Christie's out on her own. So they're really listening to me. Amazing.
Oh my goodness. Again, so much in that.
Yes.
Just your participation in this by-election is forcing them to be better. Do you think that's a fair statement?
Definitely. They don't need to hang off the coattails of the PM and the opposition leader. And they've done really well on their own once they've done it. It's amazing.
Yeah.
And what happens is they stand in front and they put their female candidate behind them. And I'm just like, why? Why are you doing this to them? They've got their own words. But, that's what happens with the big parties is that they are restricted to the party machine and they're sort of told what to say. And it's quite obvious. Whereas me as an independent, I have the support within the policies of the New Liberals and I've got a voice and they're happy for me to use my voice.
Yeah. Well, look, again, good on you for just being there. Now, we interviewed Christie, I don't know, 3 weeks ago now, I think it was, and Christie's an alumni of our 2018 training conference, and we hope to interview Fiona in a couple of weeks as well, because we are a non-partisan organisation.
Yeah, of course.
There's 14 candidates though, and nearly half of them are women in Eden-Monaro. Eden-Monaro's never had a female MP.
No, it hasn't. But you know what? All 14 of them, no one's been at Parliament House before. We're all the same. We're all new.
Yeah.
Every single one of us,
Yeah, right. That's
which is
quite a
pretty
statement.
astounding.
Yeah, that's
Yeah,
quite a statement.
yeah,
So let's turn now to the pragmatic, on the ground. You've been involved in, early voting's been open for a couple of weeks
yeah,
now, pre-polling.
yeah.
And I see the numbers that pre-polling has been much larger than it's ever been
It
before.
has. Yeah,
Again,
about a
probably
quarter
because
have
of
already
COVID.
voted. Yeah.
Yeah. So as an independent, to be able to register as an independent, you had to get out in the community and get 100
Yes.
signatures, didn't you, before you could
I did.
even register to vote, which people from
Yes.
parties don't have to. What was that process like?
So I think it was fabulous, and I was quite grateful I got that, because I actually got to talk to a lot of people before I even got signed up, and it took me a long time because all of them wanted to have a chat about my journey and their problems and all the rest of it. But every single signature I got on there, I actually got myself, and I also think that I got their vote. So I was so proud of what I was doing. It was just amazing. But yeah, 100. Then we had to pay $2,000 as well, which
Yeah.
major parties don't have to do.
Yeah.
So I think it's sort of deterring, anybody running. And the other thing is, I actually went through every single signature and every single person to make sure they were in my electorate.
Yes.
So
Yep.
took
Yep.
hours until they told me that I was in.
Yeah, well, again, part of our remit at Women for Election is to shine a light on what is currently very opaque, details like this. So you, as an independent, you need to get those signatures. They need to be on the electoral roll in
your
your seat.
electorate.
Yep.
Yes.
I remember doing it in Wentworth, and I was astounded how many of my friends were not registered to vote. So,
I know.
So I had to get about 400 signatures of the equivalent in the end.
Yes.
So
Yeah, you need to get at least 120. Don't stop at 100. At least 120. And they won't release the form until the writ's writ. Once the writ's issued, they'll issue the form. So you can't even get ready ahead of time.
Yeah. Now tell me about your campaign team. So are you doing this all by yourself? Have you assembled a team?
Pretty much. I've been really lucky. I've been having people just pop in at the right time with different things. I've got this guy in Mossvale at the moment who was sort of given to me. We've been a bit supported by Climate 200, and Climate 200 is a body that looks after independents who are passionate about the climate and want to see corruption gone from Parliament. So they've given me a small, let's say smallish amount of money. I won't say how much it is at this stage, but it was enough for me to buy cornflakes. But they also gave me this resource of this guy in Mossvale who's a social media guru. And he sort of manifested me and I manifested him. And he said, I've been really wanting to try all my theories out on somebody and have them pay for it. So we've given him about $8,000 to play with on social media and Google Ads.
Oh,
and
wow.
all those videos you're seeing, he's produced.
Okay.
Totally pro bono, with the provision that he can spend my money wisely.
Yeah.
And he has had, I reckon he's got everyone in my electorate seen my stuff 3 times.
Oh, great
Who's
numbers
on Facebook.
if you're getting that feedback. Yeah, and perfect for campaigning during a pandemic as well.
Yeah. So he's been picking all the key messages and then he's been marketing out wisely. There's all these algorithms that you can use. And at one stage he was getting a lot of spam from men. A lot of men were just, getting on and writing shitty comments. So then we've taken the men off and just focused on the women. And then suddenly I was getting a much better reception. So, it's amazing what you can do with social media algorithms.
Yeah, okay, so you're not doing it all on your own then. So you do have, you do have a core group around you, which is important and something we always talk about at our workshops. And you have such a big electorate as well.
Huge. 114,000, but If you see Canberra, it goes north of Canberra all the way down to the snowfields, down to Eden, all the way up to nearly Bateman's Bay, right across to Braidwood, and then back around Murrumbateman. It's so big. I've done most of it. I haven't done down Tumut out a long way, but my leader, Victor, did that for me. He's good. He was out doing letterbox drops for me. He's a good leader.
So have you had an opportunity to do any polling?
We did a little bit on Twitter.
Okay.
And Labor were ranking really well, which you'd expect. I was over top of Liberals for a long time, and then they ended up pulling it down because they had enough information that we were getting the reach. So who knows? The thing is, I would only need about 15% to get in on Saturday, because Liberals preference me before Labor and Labor's preference me before Liberal. So I'm sort of like the little piggy in the middle.
Yeah.
If I can get 4%, I'll be happy. If I can get 10%, I'll be stoked. Like, this is my very first time ever.
Yeah.
And I feel like we've done a really good campaign.
And the 4% is important. Why?
Because it's going to give me $10,000 back. So
yeah.
I've been saying to everybody, put me first, put your favourite party second, because then your vote will go to them. It'll keep going down till it finds a winner. So you're not going to be wasting your vote, but you're going to be helping me to run next time.
Yeah, very, very good messaging there. I think preferences, very important. Are you do you have an open ticket, or are you preferencing? How did you find your how to vote card?
I'm preferencing, but it's just a suggestion. Like, when people put preferences down, I'm saying that this is how I think you should vote. But I've been saying to people, you've got your own mind. You decide who you want to vote for. Put me first, of course. KP number 1, and there you can choose. Work your way right down to the dark side, and I did preference Greens, and then I preferenced Science, and then I preferenced Labor, and then Sustainable Australia, and then it kept going down. Right. But Greens didn't do me the favour back. I'm quite down on everybody's ticket. So whether that means they're worried about me, I don't know.
Yeah, well, that's interesting, especially considering your views on climate that I've seen with your policy. But I don't pretend to understand how the decisions are made around the boardroom table all of the time in terms of preferences. Yeah. And I asked about polling because anyone can do polling. The polling company, I did some polling, it cost me $400, and what I understood was that I was most attractive to female voters between the age of 32 and 50 in these particular postcodes of my electorate.
Right. Wow.
So, and then you can frame your messaging accordingly, one way or the other. So the polling, it's very useful, and it's very attainable as well.
How did you do it? It's not too late.
Yeah, I used a company called Ucoms, but
okay,
like a dozen of them. So
yeah,
should have had this conversation last week.
We should have.
But you can, anyone on the call, you can just Google these organisations, work out how you want to do it. Do you want to do it by phone? You can't do it by clipboards in the mall at the moment. So and work out the questions that you want to ask as well. And there's a science behind that. But again, these are things that you learn at our workshop. So let's So early voting has been open for nearly 3 weeks now.
It has, yes.
So are your days being spent at the moment at those booths?
They have been on and off. Like, I've got a business I need to run as well, so I've got to really balance everything. I feel like I've had enough reach out there that I don't have to be there all the time. Yeah. We've left our core flutes out. The big parties are coming in hard now with their big signs, on the back of trucks and doing silly things, and I'm just going along. And at the end of the day, I'd love to just pop up on Saturday and go, oh, you didn't see me coming, did you? You're so good. Me and my 20,000 spend. So yeah, I've been doing it on and off, but a lot of letterbox, talking in shopping centres. Like, you can still do that. You just got to keep your distance from people.
Yeah.
I've been in and out of the pre-poll. The pre-poll, because it's so distant, you've got 2 of every party standing there. We've got 14 people. So everybody going into pre-poll is battling through a mirage of people. Like, it's so busy down there. I just can't be bothered. So I feel like I've done my hard yards everywhere, and I'm just going to roll into this last couple of days.
So then from that point, I've seen that you've done a fair bit of media now. So whether that's print media or on the radio or even on the news.
Yeah.
How did
you on all mediums now?
Yeah. Were you media trained? Were you, was it very overwhelming, or did you just get on with it?
Well, I've been a Telstra Business Award winner as a Business Women's Award and Business Award. So I've been media trained basically through that process, which was really good. I'm an alumni of Telstra Business Awards, and they always bring in a media trainer and go through everything with you. So as a business owner, I've been pretty comfortable with media, for the 14 years I've been in business now. So for me, it was quite natural. The funny thing is, me talking politics is not natural. That's such a new part of the world for me. And there's so many new names I've learned, like pork barreling is one of my new names, and trickle-down economy, all these things we don't even think about. So, trying to be myself and not try and be something that I'm not. I'm not a politician. I'm just somebody that's had enough of the way my country's being run. And I just think if I'm just myself, then I can't really go wrong with the media or anybody.
Yeah. Well, that makes you very accessible to the normal person, that you devote. So
the other thing, I've answered all of my Facebook questions. I've done it personally. I've done all my own Facebook and Twitter. Yeah. And somebody put on Twitter the other day, let's see if Karen's a bot, and see if she replies straight away. And I did, because I was on, and I went, no, I'm not a bot. I'm just a normal person. Here I am. And they went, we thought you were a bot because you kept replying to us. And I said, well, that's really sad that you don't get replies from other people that are in politics. Why do we do that? Suddenly we become inaccessible to everybody, and I don't want to be that person.
Well, that's one of the reasons we're doing what we're doing in terms of wanting more women in these roles, because all the evidence, anecdotal and formal research showing that, women are better representatives of their community. They take more meetings with their constituents. They prosecute the case. They get more money back into their electorates as well. So I think being accessible and authentic would be helping with your messaging.
For sure. Yeah, it definitely is.
Now, one of the hot topics, obviously, down in Eden-Monaro has to be about the bushfire recovery, whether that's number one or number two topic. I'm not sure, but as you've been travelling the electorate, what are the conversations that just the everyday person is having with you?
Look, it's just the fact that there's so many that are still trying to get back on their feet. It's a really sad thing to see. There's 5 families around my area that are still rebuilding. They haven't even had their demolition yet. It's 6 months down the track now. And it's just all the sad stories and the frustration with our government. We've had a little bit of pork barreling over the last couple of weeks around the fires. And yesterday we had a bushfire recovery briefing for the candidates, which half attended. 2 of the main parties attended. And I had a good talk about the residents around me, because I've already been supporting them since the fires first started, getting them clothes and toys and toiletries and making sure that they've got warm clothes and everything. And I just had a message from one of my people saying that, ironically, after saying that yesterday on the briefing that I was worried about them, we've now got our leader of the opposition visiting the area tomorrow. tomorrow before
Oh,
the election. And then the other candidate from one of the major parties has said, look, rung them and said, if you vote for me, I'll get you all sorted with this bridge next week. I'm just like, come on, this is not genuine stuff. So, but they know what it is, and they're just laughing, going, oh, look who we've got coming tomorrow. It's just crazy. It's so obvious, it's ridiculous.
yeah. Well, it's an important seat. It's a really
Seems
important
to
seat
be.
to the government and to the opposition. That's how close it's sitting in the parliamentary chamber. So I can imagine,
Fascinating.
yeah, throwing all at it, and it is fascinating, and it's going to be fascinating to watch the population in that electorate, what their interpretation of all of that is.
Oh, I know. I've already seen a lot of it. And the other fascinating thing is that that Liberal and Nationals join a coalition when they get in. And so the National Party really want Labor to win, because when you've got a Liberal member that's sitting in that seat, the National member will tend not to go for election at the same time. So if Labor gets in, then the Nationals are going to go for the next election. So it's a very interesting thing. They can be friends at some stage and then not friends at other stages. Are just like crazy.
Well, I'm going to open to questions shortly. I've got one more for you. Well, I've got more, but I'm going to go for you at the moment. So Saturday rolls along.
Yes.
Polling booths open at
8:30.
8:30.
8:30. Yeah.
They'll close at 6. Yep.
Yes.
That's a long day, and then starts the counting and the scrutineering. Maybe we'll have a campaign party.
Yes.
With so many pre-poll votes, the likelihood that there'll be a fast result low.
Yes.
It'll take a day, a week. I'm not sure how long, but it's going to take longer than normal.
Yeah.
On the let's play hypotheticals. On the assumption that you don't win on Saturday,
yeah,
do you feel like you have had a good enough experience that you'd give it another crack, whether that be at a federal or a state level or council? Are you done at the end of Saturday?
No, I think I'll go. I think I'll go again. I did actually say I might run for council next year, because that will give me a bit more of a chance to make changes for my area. Mm-hmm. And then that will get me out there a bit more for 2022 or whatever, whenever they're going to call it. So yeah, I'm going to keep going. It's been fun. It's been the thing is, you've just got to take it not personally. I've had so many, dare I say, assholes trying to bring me down, and I just keep bopping along, and every reply I give on Facebook is with love. And it's like, oh, thank you so much for that comment. I appreciate the time that you took to make that comment, even if it's a really nasty one, because they've got nothing to come back at. And then I go along feeling like a nice person, So I think it's really important not to take it personally, and just protect yourself. Yeah. And I feel unscathed at the moment. I don't feel damaged, or I feel like I've had a great time learning.
Wow. Look, I'm so happy to hear that. Like, I cannot tell you, because it is the exact opposite. Your experience is the exact opposite of what everyone tells you it'll be like.
Yeah.
Everyone says it'll be the worst experience of your life.
Oh, no way.
Why would you do that? And to me, it doesn't sound like it's been that at all for you. So.
It's been so much fun. And I don't know whether I've just been running on an adrenaline high, and on Saturday I'll just go, deflated. But if I don't get in on Saturday, it's probably not a bad idea either, because I've still got a business. So if I got in on Saturday, I'm like, what am I going to do with my business? So I'm going to have to put some ducks in a line, because I don't want to have a conflict of interest, and I sell energy efficient windows. So if I'm up there in Parliament as the member for Eden-Monaro, and I'm trying to get sustainable housing in place, then that's a huge conflict of interest for me. So it's going to have to be a sell the business if I was to get in. So you can see my dilemma of, is it too soon for me to do that? But anyway, the destiny is already being set, so we'll just ride with it.
Yeah. Oh, well, good on you. You know, we quote the stat all the time. There's people on this call that have heard this probably a dozen times.
Yeah.
On average, it takes 3 times to run to have success.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that's the same for men. So,
yeah, right.
You know, you're starting off with an absolute whiz banger, I would say.
Yeah. Yeah. I am.
But the learning process is profound as well.
It's phenomenal.
Your likelihood.
Yeah, sorry.
That's right. Your likelihood of having success running in a council election, having run in a federal election, would be much higher.
I think so. Yeah, our council's in a bit of debt at the moment. I feel like I need to go in there and sort them out.
Oh, good on you. We're about to launch some special local council modules for New South Wales, Karen.
Oh, perfect.
Let's take that offline. You've got Saturday to get through.
I do.
Now, there are a couple of questions.
Thank you so much for talking to us, Karen, and you too, Lita. It's just really fascinating, both of your journeys. I'm curious about when you decided to run, was there much support? Like with local council, if you decide to run for local council, there is sort of information sessions and initial training sessions to help you get a stronger understanding rather than just someone telling you, oh, you should run. Did you get a lot of support for what the expectation of you will be once you get in, and what sort of training and support you will get once you get in?
That would be a no.
I thought as much.
But you know what I heard? One of my campaign people used to work at Parliament House, and he said that if I was to get in, because I'm like, what do I do if I get in? Do I just turn up at Parliament House security and say, I'm here, I've got my lunchbox, what do I do now? I've got no idea what comes next. And he said they actually have an MP training session. So when you get in, they actually give you a training session on how to be a member of Parliament. So I think that's kind of fun. And if I was to get in this time, it'd be pretty much a one-on-one, I reckon. We're imagine if you had an election with a lot of new people, it would be, a big class. So they do apparently train you in how to be an MP.
Yeah, if you get in, you certainly you put into Senate school or MP
Yes.
at the federal level. So it's back to school, but otherwise, on July 15th, Women for Election launches the first of our online training modules for specifically to cover all 3 levels of government and how you would run. It runs over 4 subsequent Wednesday nights. So Elizabeth, that might resonate with you, for example. I think there's 8 tickets left for that.
Oh, I'm going to take one. I was waiting to see if I get in or not.
You wait. We'll hold a spot for you. Actually.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
I'll make that commitment right now. I've got witnesses. Could you speak a bit more about the field? So there's, it's 14 candidates.
Yes.
Have you got to meet all of them personally? And which are the other minor parties or independents?
So I haven't met. I've met one personally. I've met the Christian Democrats, a lady, Narelle Story. So she gave me a big COVID hug in Cooma. And her and I, being small parties, were actually sharing our resources and doing a bit of pre-polling on behalf of each other. So that's been, fabulous. And then all the rest of them have just been on Zoom. So okay. I've talked to Christy McBain on the phone a couple of times. She's a mum as well. So it's been nice to chat to her. And we've had a little bit of laughing back and forward, by text messages. So we've got myself, we've got the Science Party, which is James Jansen. We've got Fiona Cottbus, the Liberals, Christy McBain. We've got the Liberal Democrats, Dean McRae. I'm going to try and remember everyone's names. It's going to be hard. We've got Trevor Hicks for Nationals. He's friends with John Barilaro, so they've been doing the blokey buddy thing. John Barilaro is a standing state member for our area. Who else is there? Oh, and there's Ricardo Bossi, who is a independent.
Okay.
And we've got another independent. Oh my goodness, I'm going to forget his name.
Oh, that's all right. It's more about so for the last election, the general election in 2019.
Yes.
Was there 14 candidates?
No. On the Greens. How can I forget the Greens? Another woman.
Hi.
Just calling from Melbourne. Hi. So my question is, as one of 14 candidates, how much are you running to hold the other candidates and parties to account, and how much are you running to win?
I'm running to win. I don't do anything by halves. And look, if I could come in the back door, that's going to be my best day ever. And I'll be the one with the big gobsmack face on for weeks. But I'll always go in to win, but also this is a great learning experience for me. And imagine going to 2022 with the exposure that I've had. Like, we've had a spotlight on us because we've been the only electorate up. So everybody around Australia has been watching us 14. So suddenly I'm a household name, you know. I was in the cafe the other day at Cooma and everyone's going, oh, there's Karen. So, you know, I'm already getting exposure. So for me, it's been a great marketing for the next time, if nothing else.
Yep.
Great, thank you.
Thanks, Susan. Profile lifting. It's very hard to run and win if you don't have a profile, but your profile's massively lifted now, Karen, and you can parlay that into, you know, a number of different elections. So
definitely, yeah.
I think we have one more question.
Well done, Karen. I've been following you closely.
You have. It's nice to talk to you, Denise. I've seen you on Twitter a lot.
Yes, sorry about that.
No, it's been good.
And best of luck for Saturday.
Thank you.
Anyone who follows me knows that I'm very interested in the media and how the media commentates on our democracy and our governance and so on. I'm really interested in how you found the media treatment throughout your campaign, particularly as during your campaign we've seen change in the media landscape. So we've seen some of the major media pull out of regional areas, and of course we've also seen a new newspaper in Braidwood, which is in Eden-Monaro, pop up called the Braidwood Changing Times.
Yes.
So I'm interested to know how the media's treated you and if you've detected any difference between the mainstream treatment but now seeing these emerging indies.
Look, the mainstream media's pretty much ignored me, I'd have to say. It's only been ABC. ABC Radio's had me on several times. No other radio stations approached me. When News came in and interviewed me in my shop, because that was sort of a lead from someone else, and you know, it was a fun segment to do on me. And then we've had the little papers, like you say, I think there's 3 in Braidwood. All 3 have done articles on me. And so has Bega District News. They've done quite a few. So it's just the little guys. The big ones aren't interested. I've not had any television crews wanting to talk to me or anything like that. So they're doing a debate tomorrow between Liberal and Labor, and everyone's like, what about Karen? She'd like to be on the debate too. But they're like, no, we're only going to talk to the 2 majors. So I'd have to say it is a bit of a shame as an independent that we are sort of like forgotten, and that's why I want to come in on Saturday and surprise the hell out of them.
Great response. An important question, Denise. Thank you. So, you know, and that's, again, another kind of proof statement about how the value of Twitter, Instagram, Facebook.
Yeah, definitely.
If you can't get the airtime with mainstream media, how do you create the time? How do you carve your own way through? And remember, when you appear on Sky News or you appear on a different news channel, for example, that's not funneled into those that are going to vote for you. That's funneled everywhere. So social media can help you be a lot more targeted, specifically for those in your electorate who are ultimately going to determine your fate. So
and look, before everybody else came on board, when it was just me and and maybe 4 others. I had everyone interested, but once the pack went out to 14, then it watered down a lot. I actually had the Daily News, was that what it was, Denise? Do an interview on me and did an absolutely huge article, and it went nationwide and worldwide. And they started off their heading of Gorgeous Mum of 5 running in the Eden-Monaro by-election. And could you imagine them ever putting a male and going, handsome Johnny, dad of 2, is going to be running for the next election? They would never do that. I just wasn't offended by it. It just shows you the difference of being a man and a woman.
Yep. Well, I think that
Thanks, Denise.
we really honestly wish you the best of luck on Saturday.
Thank you.
I think you've shown, I'd say, great courage in stepping forward. But when somebody says I've had a great time, I don't feel, but it is courage to step forward, because you're stepping into the unknown to a certain extent. You're not sure what's waiting there for you. And I don't want you to underplay the impact that you've had as well. I know it's been fun, but just remember, you being on that Zoom dais with the other candidates just makes them be that little bit better than they were going to be if somebody wasn't playing that role. So, and that's a critical role, and it is part of the purpose that women so often feel to make a difference. Is what you're doing in real life right now, linking purpose with Parliament.
Definitely.
That's
one of my biggest lessons, I actually had my first Zoom. I was devastated. I got off and I went, oh my God, I'm so out of my depth. What am I doing? This is crazy. And it was because I wasn't prepared. The next Zoom, I actually got my Word document up on the screen, and I had all my answers there that I wanted to talk to, because when you're talking on a Zoom, they can't see your screen. So your screen's actually got your notes on it. So it looks like you're talking to the audience, but you're reading your notes. And from there, I just flourished. So that's just a big lesson. Be prepared, because otherwise, I was ready to pull up stumps after that first one.
Well, good on you for being persistent. And we do wish you all the best.
Thank you.
I'm letting you off the hook now to get back out amongst it. We'll be following the campaign. Like I said, everyone on the call, go and see Karen's Facebook page. She has got a lot of great stuff on there. It's stuff that you can use as well. Replicate, learn from other people's experience. Also visit the Women for Election Australia website, where you will see how we've launched our online first training thing. Kicks off 15th of July, 8 tickets left. And know that we have successfully launched our 2000 by 2022 campaign. Our commitment to train 2,000 women to run for office in Australia before 2022. And we've had amazing response to that campaign, and have already raised in excess of $60,000. So,
wow, that's awesome.
Yeah, it is absolutely fabulous, and it shows you how fizzed up people are to see more women in our legislative chambers, but more people, that are representatives of their community as well. So, all the best for Saturday. Thank you, everyone, for joining.
Awesome.
And we're not seeing the last of you, Karen. I've already got that sussed.
Good. No, you're not. I'm not going away until I've saved the world. That's my plan. Or saved Australia.
Terrific. I love it. All right. Well, thanks
Thank you,
everybody. Take care, and we'll see you on the future In Conversation sessions.